Cory Andrews runs CoryAndrewsSports.com, has a lot of analytics and projections, and Cory now joins us. Thank you for joining us, Cory.
Oh, thanks for having me, Tom.
So we now have this, and but you have Markelle Fultz going first. You are in the majority. I see that Markelle Fultz is going to be picked by the 76ers.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a ton of sense. I mean, if you think about it, just one thing the Sixers have not had amidst the process is a backcourt scorer. I love TJ McConnell. He's great. He's a fan favorite. He's from Chester, which is very close to Philly. But he's not a dynamic athlete, and that's something Markelle Fultz can bring, along with instant offense. He can score from just about anywhere. He's a proven mid-range shooter. I think he can shoot probably high 30s percentage from three, which will eventually climb up to that 40 to 41, 42% range you want to see those good shooters go. And just more of all, he's a great athlete. And if the Ben Simmons experiment somehow doesn't work at point guard, you know you have a capable ball handler in Markelle. So the trade was really great. The fans here absolutely love it down here in South Jersey and Philly. And yeah, it's exciting. I mean, now the Sixers lead in season ticket sales for the whole league because of Markelle Fultz, and he hasn't even joined the team yet. So yeah, it's the whole reason they made the trade. It's a no-brainer for the Sixers. And yeah, welcome to the process.
I was just going to say, it's another step in the process, I guess.
Absolutely.
For the longest time, there's been this debate about Fultz or Josh Jackson. One of them could be selected as the number one. And you would think that maybe whoever was next would just go number two. But you have the Lakers. You have the Lakers giving in and getting Lonzo Ball. So you think that...
Yeah, I mean... Listen, I have Lonzo as my number two prospect. Is it unanimous? Absolutely not. Like, Markelle Fultz is my number one unanimous prospect. Like, whoever was picking there was getting Markelle Fultz.
Right,
Lonzo
that's
was
the
not.
pick.
Yeah, Lonzo wasn't as clear-cut of a pick. And really, it just fills a need that, especially now with this trade with Brooklyn, where they traded D'Angelo Russell and Mozgov's albatross deal to Brooklyn. They're able to clear a spot for Lonzo Ball to be the guy under this new era of Magic Johnson. And now they can shift everybody over to two guard like Jordan Clarkson. And really, it gives Brandon Ingram a little bit of breathing room. He doesn't have to be that secondary ball handler anymore. They can let him grow at his own pace. And I think the small forward position's fine. They have Ingram. They have Luol Deng, which I know everybody trashes the contract, but he was actually more than a capable producer at small forward last year for them, who can eventually shift over to the four, because I'm assuming Julius Randle's leaving after this year, who's absolute garbage, sorry. But no, I think Lonzo makes perfect sense for them, and obviously given the location and the proximity for marketing reasons, swimming in money at that point. And yeah, they don't need Josh Jackson. They need defense. They do, badly. But they can wait on Josh Jackson.
But do you think maybe the likes of his father and all the professionalism and the, interference of the Ball family, do you think that could still have an effect on this late, this as we're closing in on the final hours before the draft begins?
I mean, sure, the media is going to put it out there that he's an issue, but in reality, he's nothing more than an issue. If anything, he's just doing the right thing for his son and just, promoting his game and getting him out there as the guy in this draft. I mean, Kevin Pelton and all of the amazing analytics guys at ESPN put out the profiles of most likely all-stars, starters, and busts, and Lonzo is actually the safest pick. They were saying if you were looking at the analytics, Lonzo is actually the guy to go to in this draft, which I thought was pretty interesting. Even with the funky mechanics shooting, but it's the transition game. The transition game means everything now, and his passing vision and ability, it's second to none. It mean a lot for all those guys in LA to see that, and maybe it'll market some stars next year, Paul George, just in that realm.
I was just gonna say, I feel like, Ball did enough, he did enough to lead his team, UCLA, to, what was it, the Final Four, or the Elite Eight of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, they got to the second weekend, and then the controversy with Lonzo was always that De'Aaron Fox, not once but twice, got the best of him. He put up 39 on him in the Sweet 16 and eliminated them. And De'Aaron Fox is a totally different player. I really like him. I think he's number 4 on my board.
I do see that.
But he's a totally different player. Lonzo's taller and thinner, and he's just a good passer, great shooter. De'Aaron Fox you could think of as like a slightly worse John Wall. A little taller than John Wall, but he's got the same thing. He drives to the basket. He's got great kick-out ability. I'm sure he'd be phenomenal in a pick-and-roll situation. But the size isn't there, and just like John Wall in the beginning, the shooting's not there yet. I'm sure for certain teams, he'd be perfect to lead, but you'd want Lonzo in that situation. He's a much better player for jump-starting an offense, which the Lakers need also.
And I noticed on the mock draft, you have a couple of trades that you project happening. For example, in the top 5, you have the Kings trading number 3 and number 56 picks to the Suns for number 4 and 32, if I'm reading this correctly.
Oh, so that format I use diagrams all the trades that happen. So it's actually the Celtics trading down again.
Oh, the Celtics.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm sure Celtics fans really don't want to hear that. But hear me out. So really the good prospects are all in the point guard and small forward positions in early going, especially in the top 8 or so, which the Celtics don't need. I think they're more than covered 1 to 3. It's those big guys outside of Al Horford that they really need to supplement. So I felt the Suns, they're hearing all this interest for Josh Jackson. Now there's reports coming out, teams are trying to frantically get in that top 4 for Josh Jackson. So I think the Suns pull like a Chicago Bears panic move here. And based on Kevin Pelton's NBA draft pick value chart, based on analytics, this trade actually works out perfect to where they can send the 4th pick and the 32nd pick in the second round to the Celtics for 3 and 56. So, and this trade would really work out for the Suns. They need a defensive wing because Devin Booker is phenomenal offensively. He's their guy, and it makes plenty of sense. I mean, he scored more points in the game this season than anybody else, and he's younger than us. Yeah, I feel old.
So do I.
But no, Josh Jackson can give them plenty of defense and athleticism at the 3 position, which they kind of expected from TJ Warren this year. It didn't work out. And yeah, they got Derrick Jones, but he's a dunker. He's not really anything else. Like, I don't see him lasting on the roster past the offseason. So Jackson would be perfect for them. And for the Suns, the motivation here is to trade back for a big. They need bigs bad. And I think Lauri Markkanen from Arizona would be great for them. He's a stretch 4. He'd be perfect next to Horford because they don't really have a 4 under contract this offseason. Amir Johnson and Jerebko are both free agents. And unless they want to play Jay Crowder at the 4, which might work, they could play Marcus Smart at the 4 if they really want to, Jaylen Brown. But if they want a traditional 4 in that Kelly Olynyk realm, I think Markkanen's the way to go. And this trade makes plenty of sense. They get another early second-round pick for moving down 1 spot to get a guy they really need more. So, no-brainer.
Right. And you mentioned this chase for the top 4 and Josh Jackson. And here in New York, we're very familiar about that, considering all the moves that Phil Jackson has supposedly been trying to make. What is your take on the New York Knicks and this mess involving, Porzingis and Melo and Jackson?
I should just be face-palming during this whole conversation about the Knicks. I mean, it's great for me as a Sixers fan. I mean, hey, we love seeing other teams in our division just self-destruct. But, I mean, I'm really surprised the league hasn't, stepped in, in a subtle fashion and be like, hey, cut the crap, But no, the Knicks, it's just a mess. You said it before, and I don't know what they're trying to do to isolate their star players. That's just really ignorant of what they need. KP Porzingis is their future, no doubt about it. He's their best player right now.
Right.
He's a 7'3", stretch 4, stretch 5. He's really a stretch 5. They don't want to play him there because they have money sunk in centers, but he's a stretch 5, long term. Let's be real. He just has to gain a little muscle.
Right.
But I really don't know what they're doing. I could see why they're doing it because this is a panic move to get a bunch of guards. They just want to get a bunch of guards, get a point, maybe trade up in the draft, maybe get another 2 guard to bring Courtney Lee off the bench. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know anymore.
See, this sounds more like a Trubinsky move than the last one.
Yeah, okay. So this trade, and since you just hinted it, again, I like what the Magic have. Their starting 5 of Elfrid Payton, Fournier, Terrence Ross, Aaron Gordon, and Vucevic, former Sixer, Nikola Vucevic. I don't really see them being that desperate to really add somebody now, because otherwise they're kicking somebody else out of a job, which I think these 5 are fine. So my trade is for the panicking New York Knicks, because now the Celtics want to trade down for Dennis Smith. I see the Knicks trading up and getting rid of 8 and 44 in the second round, which is a pick they got from a prior trade, to get Dennis Smith, who's an really athletic point guard. They played Ryder this year, NC State. We had to go down there, and he lit us up. Yeah, he had 2 dunks that were on the SportsCenter top 10. He's a freak. I think he had a 48-inch vertical, which topped anybody from last year's draft class and this draft class. Absolutely insane. It's just, for Dennis Smith especially, the issue comes with motivation. The NC State team was supposed to be really good, and they weren't. So, and they could tell the second that NC State was really eliminated from anything, since he just was not trying as hard. And that's an issue people had with Markelle Fultz. But when Markelle Fultz committed to Washington, there were 2 players there, DeJounte Murray and Marquise Chris, who ended up being first-round picks as freshmen. They weren't expecting them to be drafted that year. So right there, that was just a stroke of bad luck. It's not his fault they only won 9 games. They just kind of put everything on him because he's the guy and they had nobody else. But Dennis Smith had people around him, and it's a motivation thing. If the Knicks still struggle, I could see where that pick kind of goes awry, but I think it'd be a subtle pick and a nice value to add to their backcourt and get some athleticism in it.
And what are your takes on all the stories that have been coming out today for the Knicks? Recently, we've learned that Phil Jackson supposedly fell asleep during a top 15's workout. And then supposedly James Dolan with his little band, they're going to play a gig tonight. So we're going to have James Dolan not even caring about his team. And then Phil Jackson, I don't know what the hell he's doing.
No, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure his band's name is JD and the Slingshot, or the Straight Shot.
Yeah.
Straight Shot.
I remember something like that.
Yeah. So it shows you where their priorities are, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
I mean, I feel like enough's been said right there. If they don't want to care about their team, and he's just sitting there fine with making the money he's making off it, because he's making a ton of money off it.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah, if he's fine with being mediocre, more power to him. He's got the money. He bought the team himself. Well, he inherited it, but still. No, if that's the way he wants to run his team, fine. But, don't expect to be looking for goodwill when you need it the most, It's one of those things.
This is the Knicks and Rangers fans' long suffering under James Dolan.
Oh, it's so comical.
Okay, last question. I want you to name 2 people. One who you think everyone's putting too much draft stock into, and one who I think they're not giving enough draft stock to.
Interesting. Okay. So I got a couple.
Okay.
I think the one that, actually I'll lump this into 2.
Okay.
Because they play the same position. They're ranked right around the same. I have them 12th and 13th on my big board, so they're not that far apart. Luke Kennard of Duke and Donovan Mitchell of Louisville are 2 guards who, going into this process, were maybe late first rounders. Mitchell was even an early second rounder. And then in the last week and a half or so have just skyrocketed. So now there's been rumors a couple days ago the Knicks were interested in taking Kennard at 8.
I remember that.
Yeah, no. There was a reason he was ranked that low to begin with. And this is almost like the Trey Burke situation from Michigan. You may remember 4 years ago when he was drafted, where the good tournament play propelled him to number 9 with the Jazz. And they traded 2 first-rounders to the Timberwolves to trade up to get him. And they ended up being Shabazz Muhammad and Gorgui Dieng. Gorgui Dieng's been the best player out of all of them, and he was the worst pick. But anyway. But it shows that players who do well in the tournament aren't necessarily a product that's meant for the NBA. Sure, you can catch lightning in a bottle, but guys like Mitch McGarry of the Thunder, he was just proven to be too much of a head case that they just got rid of him after 2 years. And they still had to pay him $2 million. But, those high risers right before the draft, I'm not usually a fan of. And those are the two guys that just shot up my board in the last couple weeks from the other experts. And yeah, I'm not seeing it. I mean, I could see where it fills needs. There's not too many 2 guards left. But
right.
The guy that's not getting enough attention, I think there's 2 actually I want to highlight.
Okay.
Again, sorry, I'm melting your question to something
That's
completely different. Harry Giles, also out of Duke, former top high school prospect, had a knee injury his senior year and barely played at Duke. He just could not get it going in time. They tried to get him into game shape in the middle of the season, just wasn't panning out. But now all of a sudden, you see his stock rising. Now he's up to number 15 on my big board. The Kings are maybe interested in him at number 10 because now they're looking for value post Boogie Cousins.
Ooh.
I think his name will go sooner than a lot of people think. I have him going 15 to the Trailblazers because they have 3 first-round picks. They could just use lottery tickets on all of them. They don't care. But that's a name just based on talent alone in the past. As long as the knee injury's fine, you could look past the college production of 4 points, 4 rebounds a game in like 11 minutes. He barely played. Where, hey, maybe it's worth taking a chance on this guy. The other one, and the comparisons on this guy just astound me. OG Anunoby on Indiana. Now, the comparisons I was finding like 2 to 3 weeks ago from everybody. Oh, he's got Kawhi Leonard measurables, big hands, real long wingspan, the same like 6'7" height. He played at Indiana. Now he tore his ACL, so his stock plummeted down, but it just came back up. So now it's right around where he was before he got hurt.
Why did it come back up so suddenly?
I think teams are more comfortable with his workout. I think he's recovering pretty well, and those recoveries are so much faster now than they used to be. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, I just think the measurements and the intangibles he was showing at some of the workout he was able to do, and just the game tape alone, because he was playing with some talented players. Say what you want about Tom Crean in Indiana, they churn out NBA players pretty consistently the last few years. Someone's going to take a chance on him higher than he's marked. I have him going 21 to the Thunder, but that's because I don't see an obvious need at small forward for any of those teams in that like 15 to 20 range. So I think he could go sooner if somebody really believes he's the next Kawhi Leonard and wants to take a shot at him. But, I mean, I personally don't see it, but I didn't watch that much game film on Anunoby, to be completely honest. But somebody will take him earlier. Just a matter of who.
Excellent. Cory Andrews of CoryAndrewsSports.com. Cory, thank you once again for stopping in and breaking it all down.
Thanks for having me, Tom. Absolute pleasure. Thank you.